Hey, Leap Inspire family. Picture this. A single text message, sent by mistake, unravels a hidden truth that could change lives forever. A struggling mother, a sick child, and a man who thought his past was buried, until one accidental message brings it all crashing back. Stay with me, because this story of survival, betrayal, and redemption will grip your heart and keep you hooked until the very end. Let's dive into this incredible journey. You won't want to miss a single moment. In a dusty corner of Sunny Hollow, where the sun beat down on a sagging trailer park, Lila clutched her feverish son, Milo, in her trembling arms. Her worn dress clung to her sweat-soaked skin, and every breath felt like a battle. The trailer's thin walls barely kept out the heat, and the air inside was heavy with the smell of damp wood and desperation. Lila's head throbbed, her fever spiking, but she forced a smile for Milo, an 8-year-old with bright eyes and a smudge of dirt on his cheek. "Mom, you're burning up," he said, holding a cracked thermometer that barely worked. "It's 102.5. Lila brushed his hair back, her voice soft but shaky. "Just a little tired, sweet boy. We'll be okay." But her heart sank as she glanced at their empty kitchen. Nothing but a pinch of salt and a nearly dry bottle of oil. No rice, no bread, no hope of a meal. Milo, trying to be brave, dipped a rag in a bowl of lukewarm water and pressed it to her forehead. "I've got you, Mom," he whispered, his small hands steady despite the fear in his eyes. Lila's chest ached with love and guilt. She was supposed to protect him, not the other way around. "Milo, stay here," she said, pushing herself up despite the dizziness. "I'm going to ask Ms. Nora for some rice." Milo protested, his voice small. "Mom, you're too sick. Let me go." But Lila shook her head. "People listen to mothers, not kids. I'll be quick." She slipped on her worn sandals and stepped into the scorching alley, where neighbors lounged in the shade, their whispers sharp as knives. "There's Lila, begging again," one sneered. "Can't even feed her kid." At Ms. Nora's tiny shop, Lila leaned against the counter, her voice barely above a whisper. "Can I borrow half a kilo of rice? I'll pay you back after my next laundry job." Before Ms. Nora could respond, a neighbor, Clara, cut in with a smirk. "Borrowing rice? What kind of mother are you, Lila? Dragging that boy down with you?" Laughter rippled through the crowd, and Lila's cheeks burned. She clutched the small bag of rice Ms. Nora handed her, murmuring thanks, and hurried back, the weight of their words heavier than the fever. Back at the trailer, Milo's face lit up at the sight of the rice. "We're eating tonight, Mom," he said, setting up their tiny stove. They cooked a thin porridge, just rice, water, and a pinch of salt, but to Milo it was a feast. As they ate, he dreamed aloud about a future with a full fridge, a real house, and a school where he could learn. Lila's heart swelled, but fear gnawed at her. What if she couldn't get better? What if she couldn't provide? Later, as Milo fanned her with a piece of cardboard, she reached for her old phone, its battery flickering. "I'll text Mary for help," she said, typing shakily. "Mary, can I borrow 2 pounds of rice? Milo's sick, and I'm struggling." Her vision blurred, and in her daze, she didn't notice she'd sent the message to the wrong contact, a name she'd buried years ago, Silas. Across the city, in a glittering mansion, a lavish party was in full swing. Crystal chandeliers sparkled, and a 5-tier cake stood surrounded by roses for the birthday of Celeste, the stepdaughter of Silas's new wife, Giselle. Silas, a polished O in his early 40s, stood among the elite, his tailored suit hiding the unease in his heart. His phone buzzed, and he glanced at the screen, expecting a work update. Instead, the words stopped him cold. "Mary, can I borrow 2 pounds of rice? Milo's sick, and I'm struggling." His breath caught. Lila? A child? He'd left her years ago, chasing ambition over love, believing she'd moved on. They'd married young, in a quiet ceremony filled with dreams, but he'd walked away, choosing wealth over her. Now this message, a child? His hand shook as he reread it, the party's noise fading. "Silas, you okay?" Giselle asked, her smile perfect for the cameras. He nodded absently, stepping onto the balcony, the text burning in his mind. "A child? My child?" Back in the trailer, Lila realized her mistake too late. The message had gone to Silas, not Mary. Panic gripped her, but there was no undoing it. She hugged Milo, who slept fitfully, his fever worsening. She prayed silently, hoping for strength to keep going. Meanwhile, Silas couldn't stay still. He called his assistant, Lena. "Trace this number. Now." Within minutes, Lena reported back. "It's active, pinging from Sunny Hollow, a trailer park." Silas's heart pounded. "Take me there," he told his driver, leaving the party without a word to Giselle. The limousine cut through the city, from opulence to poverty, until it stopped in a narrow alley. Silas stepped out, the stench of heat and decay hitting him. A kid pointed to a trailer with a torn curtain. "That's them." Inside, Lila sat on a stool, cooling Milo's forehead with a damp cloth. She looked up and gasped. "Silas!" His eyes locked on the boy, pale, shivering, but with a face that mirrored his own as a child. "Who's this?" Silas asked, his voice breaking. Lila's lips trembled. "Milo, my son." She paused, tears spilling. "Our son." The words hit Silas like a freight train. He knelt beside Milo, who stirred and whispered, "Who are you?" Silas swallowed hard. "I'm a friend of your mom's." He couldn't say more. "Not yet. Lila, you're both sick. You can't stay here." Despite her protests, he lifted Milo gently and helped her to the car. "You need medicine, food, a real bed." Lila hesitated, shame and fear warring in her chest, but Milo's frail form in Silas's arms left her no choice. She followed. The drive to the mansion was silent. Lila clutching Milo's hand, Silas staring at the boy, guilt clawing at him. "I didn't know," he said finally. "If I'd known you were pregnant." Lila's voice was barely audible. "You chose your path, Silas, not us." Her words cut deep, but he saw Milo's small hand in his, and something shifted. "I won't leave you again," he said, voice firm. At the mansion, the party still buzzed. Giselle, radiant in a designer gown, froze when she saw Silas carrying a sick child, a frail woman at his side. Her smile tightened. "Silas, who are they?" He met her eyes. "Lila and Milo. They're staying." Giselle's composure held, but her eyes flashed. "The guest house, then?" "For their comfort." Lila's head bowed, humiliated, but Silas's tone was unyielding. "They're not leaving." The guest house was a world apart from the trailer, clean, cool, with soft beds, but Lila felt like an intruder. Staff whispered, their glances sharp. Giselle's charity, the Heart of Grace Foundation, descended the next morning, cameras in tow. "Our new beneficiaries," a coordinator announced, snapping photos of Lila and Milo as if they were a project. Giselle swept in, her smile practiced. "We're so blessed to help families like this," she said for the live stream, her voice dripping with false warmth. Lila's throat tightened. She wasn't a charity case. She was Silas's ex-wife, Milo his son, but she stayed silent, shielding Milo from the truth for now. The staff's smirks grew bolder after Giselle left. "Charity cases," one muttered, living off Mrs. Giselle's kindness. Days became a blur of isolation. Lila and Milo ate in the guest house, barred from the mansion's dining room. "It's more comfortable for you," Giselle said, her tone final. When guests visited, staff ordered Lila to stay out of sight. Milo, playing in the small garden, faced Celeste's cruelty. "You're just a charity kid," she taunted, her friends giggling. "This isn't your home." Milo ran to Lila, tears streaming. "Why don't we belong, Mom?" She hugged him tight. "Your heart decides where you belong," not their words. But inside, her resolve hardened. She wouldn't let them break her son. One night, Milo crept into the mansion's kitchen, desperate for medicine for Lila's worsening fever. He found a bottle of acetaminophen, but Celeste caught him. "Thief!" she shouted, snatching it and tossing it away. "You don't belong here." Staff rushed in, and whispers of thief spread like wildfire. By morning, the estate buzzed with rumors. Lila and Milo were trouble, stealing, bringing bad luck. Lila, overhearing, felt her heart fracture but held Milo close. "You're not a thief. They don't know you." Fear grew. What would happen next? When Giselle and Silas left for a week-long charity gala abroad, her mother, Mrs. Evelyn, arrived unannounced. Her presence chilled the air. She stormed into the guest house, cane tapping sharply. "So, you're the beggars my daughter let in," she spat, eyeing Lila and Milo like stains. "Claiming you're Silas's wife, that this boy is his? Lies." Lila stood firm. "I was married to Silas. Milo is his son." Mrs. Evelyn laughed coldly. "A thief in the kitchen, and now this? You're nothing but trouble." Milo's voice shook. "We're not thieves." Her eyes narrowed. "Silence, boy. You're no grandson of mine." She turned to the staff. "They don't belong here. Remove them." Before Lila could react, staff grabbed her and Milo, dragging them out. "You can't do this." Lila screamed, but her words fell on deaf ears. Milo sobbed, clinging to her. They were shoved into a van, driven to a desolate lot with nothing but weeds and a crumbling warehouse. The staff took Lila's phone and left them with nothing. "You'll pay for this," Lila shouted as the van sped away. Alone, she held Milo, his scraped knee bleeding. "We'll survive, baby," she whispered, though fear gripped her. No food, no water, no way out. She started walking, Milo's hand in hers, vowing to fight for him. Silas returned to a too-quiet mansion. "Where are Lila and Milo?" he demanded. Mrs. Evelyn sipped tea calmly. "They left. Said they didn't want this life." Silas's gut twisted. "That's not Lila." Suspicion led him to check his secret cameras. The footage shattered him. Staff dragging Lila and Milo out, Mrs. Evelyn orchestrating it all. Another clip revealed Giselle's scheme, siphoning charity funds into her own accounts. Rage surged. He sent trusted contacts to search for Lila and Milo, and days later, a shelter worker called. A mother and son, dropped off, no food, no phone. "They're here." Silas raced to the shelter, finding Lila and Milo on a worn mat, bruised and frail. "Lila," he whispered, kneeling. "Milo." Tears fell as he hugged them. "I'm so sorry. I didn't know." Lila's voice broke. "Why didn't you see?" Milo looked up. "Are you my dad?" Silas's heart clenched. "Yes, son. I'm here now." He took them to a safe house, vowing to protect them. With evidence from the cameras, he had Mrs. Evelyn arrested for assault. Auditors uncovered Giselle's fraud. Millions diverted from the charity. She was arrested, her perfect image crumbling on the news. Months later, Silas, Lila, and Milo stood in a small chapel, renewing vows in a simple ceremony. Lila wore a borrowed dress. Milo beamed as Silas legally claimed him as a son. They moved into a modest home. No mansion, just warmth and love. Milo started school, his dreams within reach. One evening, they sat in their yard, sharing ice cream, laughter filling the air. Silas looked at them, tears of joy in his eyes. "You're my world," he said. The pain of the past faded, replaced by a family rebuilt on truth and love. Thank you for joining this incredible journey. If this story touched your heart, hit that subscribe button for more tales of hope and redemption. Let's keep inspiring each other.